In July of AD 64, Rome faced the greatest disaster in its long history, a catastrophe that would forever bind Nero's name to fire, fear, and accusation. A massive blaze broke out near the Circus Maximus and spread rapidly through the city's densely packed neighborhoods. For 6 days and 7 nights, flames consumed temples, homes, markets, and monuments until nearly 2/3 of Rome lay in ruins. Ancient sources agree on the scale of destruction, but not on its cause. Rumors spread quickly that Nero himself had ordered the fire, a claim repeated by later writers but unsupported by firm evidence. At the time the fire began, Nero was not even in Rome, and he returned quickly to organize relief efforts, opening imperial gardens to the homeless and arranging emergency food supplies. Yet in a city traumatized by loss, suspicion proved stronger than fact. Nero's response to the fire revealed both competence and calculation. He introduced new building regulations requiring wider streets, brick construction, and fire-resistant materials, reforms that would permanently reshape Rome's urban landscape. These measures were practical and forward-looking, but they were overshadowed by Nero's decision to construct the Domus Aurea, the Golden House, a vast and extravagant palace complex built across large sections of the cleared land. To many Romans, this symbolized excess and self-indulgence, reinforcing the belief that Nero had benefited from the city's destruction, regardless of whether he had caused it. As public anger grew, Nero needed a scapegoat. According to Tacitus, he turned to a small and unpopular religious group, the Christians, blaming them for the fire. This marked the first state-sponsored persecution of Christians in Roman history. Arrests, executions, and public punishments followed, designed not only to punish, but to divert blame. While later Christian tradition would emphasize the cruelty of these acts, Roman sources suggest that Nero's primary motive was political survival rather than ideological hatred. Nevertheless, the persecutions hardened his image as a tyrant and planted the seeds of a legacy that would endure long after his death. The fire also accelerated Nero's estrangement from the Roman elite. Senators and aristocrats, already uneasy with his artistic ambitions and disregard for tradition, now viewed him as reckless and dangerous. This resentment crystallized in AD 65 with the discovery of the Pisonian Conspiracy, a wide-ranging plot involving senators, officers, and intellectuals who sought to overthrow Nero. The conspiracy was exposed before it could succeed, and the response was swift and brutal. Executions, forced suicides, and purges followed, claiming dozens of lives. Among the dead was Seneca, Nero's former tutor, ordered to take his own life despite years of loyal service. The aftermath of the conspiracy marked a decisive transformation in Nero's rule. Fear replaced trust, and suspicion governed policy. Informers flourished. Treason trials increased. The Senate became a hollow institution, offering praise not out of loyalty, but out of terror. Ancient historians, most of them members or sympathizers of the senatorial class, would later shape Nero's reputation through this lens of fear and humiliation. Their accounts emphasize cruelty, excess, and madness, but they also reflect the bitterness of a ruling elite that had lost its influence under an emperor who valued popular approval more than aristocratic tradition. Even as opposition hardened in Rome, Nero's popularity among certain segments of the population endured. He invested heavily in public entertainment, festivals, and games, using spectacle to maintain loyalty and distract from political unrest. His devotion to performance intensified. Nero no longer saw himself merely as a patron of the arts, but as an artist-emperor, a performer whose talent deserved admiration. In AD 66, he embarked on a grand tour of Greece, where he competed in musical and athletic contests traditionally closed to Romans. He won every competition he entered, victories ensured not only by talent, but by imperial authority. To the Greek cities, Nero presented himself as a liberator, granting privileges and tax exemptions that earned genuine enthusiasm. To many Romans, however, the emperor's prolonged absence from the capital signaled neglect. While Nero performed abroad, unrest simmered across the empire. Financial strain increased as the costs of rebuilding Rome, maintaining spectacles, and funding the imperial court mounted. Taxes rose, estates were confiscated, resentment deepened in the provinces. Governors and military commanders began to question Nero's leadership, not only because of his cruelty alone, but because of his perceived instability and detachment from imperial responsibilities. By the late 60s AD, the emperor who once promised harmony now ruled through spectacle and fear, admired by crowds, yet isolated from the structures that sustained imperial power. His artistic identity, once a personal passion, had become a political liability. Roman culture tolerated many vices in its rulers, but public performance by an emperor challenged the very idea of Roman authority. Nero's reign increasingly appeared to his contemporaries as a dangerous experiment, one that placed emotion and applause above discipline and tradition. As opposition gathered strength, the myths surrounding Nero grew darker. Stories spread of cruelty, extravagance, and moral collapse, some rooted in fact, others exaggerated by enemies and later historians. The line between history and legend blurred, creating an image of Nero that would dominate Western memory for centuries. Yet beneath the layers of accusation lay a more complex figure, a ruler shaped by propaganda, trauma, and a political system that punished deviation from tradition as harshly as it punished failure. Rome was now approaching a breaking point. The empire that Nero had inherited in stability stood on the edge of rebellion. Armies, provinces, and elites were losing faith, and the loyalty that had sustained his rule through fire and conspiracy was beginning to crumble. In the final chapter of Nero's life, performance would give way to panic, applause to silence, and the last emperor of the Julio-Claudian dynasty would face the judgment of a world he could no longer control.